The golden hour is where your intervention can save a life, whether it's a heart attack or any sort of accident or any um, neuralgic attack. Now, I'll always look back thousands of years when people lived without any healthcare. Cosmic rays keep coming, neutrinos keep hitting, we know that. But that's how we have evolved. So we know how to tackle that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, a podcast series by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. I'm Sunny Pancholi, and today we are honored to have with us a distinguished leader in the healthcare sector. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Sai Giridhar, and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders. Your presence is greatly appreciated, sir.
Hello, Sunny. I'm glad to be here and thank you for this warm welcome.
So, Mr. Sai Girdhar, as I went through your impressive career journey, I noticed several fascinating milestones that really stood out. So, I'm eager to dive into them and learn more about your experiences.
Well, my career started as a doctor, and in brief, I moved into hospital management, started managing hospitals. So now I'm into a section where I'm using my experience and knowledge to solve problems in the healthcare sector. So I've started my entrepreneurial journey about 6 years back and trying to find solutions to the problems what I saw could be an improvement to the healthcare sector.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have had an incredible journey spanning over 24 years in healthcare and leading to various institutions and driving impactful initiatives. So, looking back, was there a particular moment or experience that you feel truly defined your career path and set the course for everything that followed? And we would love to hear more about how that moment shaped your journey and brought you to where you are today.
Absolutely. So, see, first, the initiation of my thoughts, which is leading me all through my career, is what I got during my student days. When I was studying medical science, I realized that healthcare is not about just individual care. That's what doctors do. They treat patients. But in a civilized world, like we have education system, political system, economic system, healthcare also is a global system and everything is connected. So there is a huge scope for a large scale solutions and policies and implementation that every nation can do to improve healthcare and health of the whole world. And it is also connected to the environment. So it is far more larger picture than just treating patients and treating sickness. So this vision came during my college days, and I'm always venturing into finding larger scale solutions. And I think I am following the same path. This was one turning point that suddenly it came like a flash that healthcare is a lot more than just treating sickness. The other thing is when I was practicing in Apollo in Bangalore, I really got an opportunity to take over and run a hospital in Bahrain. So I moved from there. Of course, I was very fortunate that my chairman, he sent me to look at a possible takeover of a hospital there, which I was facilitating. And that brought me to Bahrain. And I ended up staying back here, even though they could not take over the hospital. But I was running this hospital. So at the age of 29, I was the CEO of the hospital. And I could involve fully into management. There's a lot of learning. I was qualified to manage hospitals, but there's a lot of learning that had to go in. But that gave me another opportunity to actually realize my dreams. I would say that was another turning point, which set me in this path. And of course, the last plunge is where you take it yourself. And that is to start your journey on your own, where you start figuring out your vision and try to implement what you have learned, what you have envisioned, and truly lead your dreams to realization. So these three steps, of course, the last one happened 6 years back, but that's, I think, the key points which has brought me so far, I guess.
So, Dr. Sai Girdhar, during your remarkable decade as CEO of Al Hilal Hospital Group, you led the organization through significant transformations. So, what would you consider the most impactful change you implemented, and how did it redefine the hospital's growth and vision? Also, could you share the journey behind this milestone and the difference it made to the organization?
Okay. When I came to Bahrain, of course, like any new hospital, there would be various issues, both operational and financial. So the first thing which I think I got it right is to set the market positioning and strategy. Of course, there was a lot of support from the board, the ownership of the hospital. Um, but we could position the hospital in terms of pricing and service structures to suit the market. This was very important, and I think we got it right. The second thing is to implement IT systems. Hospitals are still not very advanced in terms of the kind of technology we use in banking or communication. It's still evolving. So the initial steps of implementing information technology, whether it is electronic medical records, hospital management systems, we were in those stages. I'm talking about like 15 years back. So implementing a complete online system as best as possible with those days technologies was another big step which prepared the hospital for a more growth and more advancement and more transparency and accountability. So that was another important thing. Hitting the corporate markets and taking advantage of the opportunity at the time when the government policies facilitate was another thing which we did. The government came up with corporate insurance, and there was no corporate insurance before 2015. So we could take advantage of that and created policies and made exclusive networks, huge amount of memberships under our own network, by which time, we had started almost 2 more branches. So we could create a network and capitalized on that, which gave us a good market positioning and revenue growth. That was another step, I would say, which we achieved. Lastly, and most importantly, you need to brand yourself as a quality hospital, quality medical service provider. And those days, the national accreditation program was not yet there. Like in India, we have NABH. There is a NHRA standards here, which came in later. But those days, we only could look at the JCI, which is an American accreditation standard, or an Australian standard, ACHSI. And we chose to go for the American standard, that is the JCI. And we got accredited as a JCI hospital in 2016, which set the ultimate pinnacle of achievement for any hospital. So that is how I would say I could establish Al Hilal Hospital Group in Bahrain.
So, Dr. Sai Girdhar, as a seasoned leader in healthcare, you have not only managed hospitals, but also pioneered innovative health tech solutions, creating a bridge between traditional healthcare and modern technology. So, what initially sparked your interest in venturing into the tech side of the healthcare? And how do you believe this fusion of healthcare and technology is shaping the future of the industry?
Very well. See, there is a story behind that also. When I was in Apollo Hospital in Bangalore, it was called Sagar Apollo Hospital. It was a collaboration between Sagar Group and the Apollo Enterprises. There was, again, I will talk about quality standards. I think that is the key turning point to apply technology in healthcare. I'm sure many of my colleagues and professionals would agree with me. Those days, we had no standard in India. NABH was still in the formation stage. I'm talking about 2004. And we chose to do the ISO standards. ISO was mainly for the industrial standards and some sort of quality management, not tailor-made for hospitals, but we had no choice. And there, I really got inspiration to understand what is TQM, Total Quality Management, wherein you can break down processes, complex processes, into simple steps and establish checks and balances at the beginning and end of each step. And that would create a control and ensure quality. And you set up a team of people who would monitor each step, and it's documented, and it can be audited, and you can continually improve. Now, this was a great discovery for me, that you could break down complex processes. And of course, now if you see the NABH standards or the GCA standards or NHRA standards in Bahrain or any other standards, DHA standards in the Dubai and UAE, they all are somehow based on this principle of TQM. So once you know how to break down processes into simpler processes, the next thing is how can you make it more error proof? And there comes technology. Because how much ever the quality standards we implemented, and this is my learning over the years, the human intervention and the manual entries, dependencies were always a stumbling block. Your quality would always get hit because of these kind of things. And when human intervention is there, manpower, training, recruitment, salaries, there is a huge amount of process involved behind to just make sure that you are able to implement those quality requirements. I'm not saying this that human intervention should not be there. Even with technology, there is a lot of human intervention. But you have assist tools. You need assist tools. Like you have with the cars. You have brake assist or so many other advanced features like the ADAS and all that. I started understanding that technology can help to insulate against those errors, which could potentially harm the patient safety, which is the ultimate goal for any hospital, that is to ensure patient safety. So how these technology solutions started evolving for me, it's like more than 10 years back that I started realizing we need to use software technology properly. Of course, the hospital management systems were already implemented. The electronic medical records were happening, at least in the Middle East, if more than in India. Doctors were learning how to type into the computer their electronic records rather than writing and scribbling on notes and files. This transformation was happening. So currently the technology solutions, what I try to do is disseminate real-time information. One of the key requirements, because healthcare is a team activity and healthcare needs can come anytime. Today, individuals can have a health emergency anytime, anywhere. This is a big challenge. And you need to have immediate access and immediate intervention. So one of the key areas where technology can help is access and dissemination of information. So I will tell you a little brief about the solutions, what we're working on. One is the remote patient monitoring. You have smartwatches nowadays. You see, technology also is catching up, or rather, technology is leading the way to be able to implement certain solutions which we could not do 10 years back, let's say. So, smartwatch, you have the data. You can have more advanced professional type of smartwatches or devices that could be attached to the human body. And you could read their health parameters in real time. So most high-risk patients, this can be a service that they have a device fixed to them, and your hospital, your doctor, and all the key stakeholders are aware and informed in real time. And with AI, there is inbuilt algorithms which will identify out-of-range readings, which can raise the alarm and send alerts to all key stakeholders. That would really save lives, because you've heard of this golden hour. The golden hour is where your intervention can save a life, whether it's a heart attack or any sort of accident or any neuralgic attack. So real-time information is going to alert the key stakeholders, maybe ambulance systems, your hospital where you've been taking treatment, or doctors, and there could be an immediate response. Not only that, I'm in the process of even developing a small kiosk, some sort of a package that could be kept at home. And in real-time video conferencing, even a basically trained person can administer life-saving uh, intervention, and then an ambulance can come and pick up a patient. This is possible when you have a platform that can reach out to an individual's home through a device, a medical device that can be fixed on the human body. This is the level at which technology can help. This is one of them. The other angle which has developed is mass level healthcare, organized healthcare. Now we are talking of insured patients with corporate networks, and patients have to channel through various centers to reach out to primary level or secondary level or tertiary level. Not so much in India, because India there is no outpatient insurance coverage, whereas in the Middle East you have outpatient insurance coverage also. So it's very much important that you have real-time information on the movement of patients, the claim movements, the claim processes, and what should be the channel that a patient should follow so that he or she gets the immediate and the most logical help. Now, you do understand there are multiple specialties. Not a single doctor would be able to treat every type of problem, even though there are GPs who can do basic treatments. But for specialized care, they need to be sent to a particular specialist, maybe for intervention or maybe just for a consultation. There is a channel. And this is all linked to economics, where insurance is involved, money is involved. You need to have checks and balances and controls. So we are developing a solution which can keep real-time monitoring of movement of patients. So there will be a patient app, there will be a doctor's app, and every hospital and clinic in the network will be connected. And again, it is real-time. We are able to give information to the insurance as well as the corporate HR, for example, and admin access to keep a monitoring of all these movements and see that they are logically flowing. It will prevent any type of fraud, misuse by the individual patient or by any corporate or by any hospital also, because everything will be in real time and transparent. This is a platform that we are launching the coming December. And this is another way I can apply technology in healthcare. Apart from that, there are some innovations which we are also associated with. There are thermal screening algorithms, AI-based, that we are associating with for screening for diabetes and hypertension without any contact, just by thermal screening. And I will be launching that in the Middle East region. This is again a software program which can analyze and read a thermal image, a high definition thermal image. And the algorithm is designed to predict the presence or the possibility of a patient developing hypertension or diabetes or even hyperlipidemia. We are in the early stages of implementing this. We are going to do a lot of analysis and field studies. But this is again application of technology in healthcare. Now, you will be happy to note here, none of this, what I have said, has been there in the market. There is a lot of talk about telehealth. There is talk about, video consultations. Or yes, there is a little talk about medical devices and patient remote patient monitoring, which is happening through many companies already. What I see lacking in any of those solutions, and I may be wrong, and this is just my understanding, is that you need to have the complete understanding of how the medical services work. Just applying technology as a coating on top of the existing system is not going to work. You need to fix and connect each and every point that would make a difference by application of technology. And that is where I think my expertise is of value here. And I'm saying this with humility, that there is a few people who have medical knowledge, medical management, hospital management knowledge, and are savvy in technology, as well as understand the insurance dynamics. It's a very different fields altogether. So anywhere there is a lack of that understanding, the efficiency will be less. That's my understanding. And that's what I could make a difference, that I bring all these strengths together and try to find solutions. So for me, new ideas keep bubbling out. There are a lot more things to do. I'm looking forward to it.
Great. It's really great to see how your passion for both healthcare and technology has driven such impactful innovations. And it's pretty much clear that bridging these two fields can create solutions that could directly benefit not just the institution, but also the patients. Amazing, amazing. I'm loving this conversation with you, sir. So, your work extends beyond traditional healthcare management, as you have also been a strong advocate for protecting against the effect of electromagnetic radiation. So, what I would like to ask you is what initially sparked your passion for this cause, and how has it influenced the way you develop and implement health solutions? That is part A. And can you share an example where this advocacy has led to a tangible impact on patient care or overall health practices?
Okay, this is a very vast subject. What I have been able to do is very little. But let me tell you, as doctors, many of the doctors, I'm sure all of the doctors would think in the back of their mind, why is there so much sickness and ailment? Because not all of it is the type that should or would happen. Now, I'll always look back thousands of years when people lived without any healthcare. Animals in jungles lived without any healthcare. They do die of disease, they do fall sick. There is variety of inherent problems. But then when you look at the civilized world, there is a lot more than that. This is not normal. Something that we are doing itself is causing more sickness, ailments, and disease. Now, I don't have to tell you, everybody knows this. But then this is like a vague question, which it's okay not to find answers for. It's like you look up at the stars and think, what's beyond, beyond, beyond? You never get an answer, but it's okay. Life goes on. This kind of thing. You know, the key elements which everybody would understand who knows the medical profession is the air, the water, and the food. And of course, the environment in general. Is what your body is made of, and then your mind, and then the rest of life. So look at air, polluted, water, polluted, food, polluted. And then there's the environment, which, let's say, weather and clouds and ground, that's one thing. We are adapted to it. But something that human has created is the radiations. Cosmic rays keep coming, neutrinos keep hitting, we know that, but that's how we have evolved. So we know how to tackle that. You might have heard that gene mutations happen with cosmic rays actually hitting and changing the genetic makeup, and that's helped evolution. But the amount of radiation that's happening around you in such a short span of time, the mobile radiation or the radio waves or microwaves, this is too much too quickly, and the body cannot adapt. So there is an effect of this radiation. A lot of studies are showing how we ourselves emit certain type of electromagnetic field, the aura, they say. You might have heard of, this alternate therapists who can read your aura, and there's Reiki, and vibrations, waves. This is all that we're made of. This knowledge is growing. Mr. Tesla, Nikola Tesla, famously said that if you need to understand the universe, you think in terms of vibrations. So vibration is nothing but waves. Waves means it could be any type of wave. So these waves definitely have an effect on your mind and your body. And people claim to have diseases coming from that. People claim to have maybe sleep disorder or attention deficit or some sort of mental problems. It could be difficult to prove, or maybe it's early days. I'm sure there will be more research and more definitive studies about these things, but we can understand that there is an effect. So any doctor would think of how to solve these four issues: food, water, air, and let's put it environment in terms of radiation. So this is what inspired me to look at solutions. So I actually started working on how people could prevent themselves from polluted air. So we are yet to do that, because more technology applications are not intensive even in investments. So we are focusing on those things first, but when we get into manufacturing, I want to give people something where they can immediately protect themselves from polluted air. Air is free, but clean air is a problem. So that's one thing. Water, of course, the bottled water revolution is going on with its benefits and again, the problem with the plastic due to this bottling. But we know this for decades now. There need to be a solution for that. We've thought of ways how we could provide the best of quality of water to people, but unfortunately, bottling is unavoidable. Food, there's a lot of people working on food development. Organic is now the buzzword, and what to eat, what not to eat. You see, diet can reverse diabetes. Diet can, dependency on medicines is now seen as a scourge and not as a benefit anymore. Things are changing, very adaptive. But radiation was one area where it was difficult to do. So I'm fortunate to be associated with this company called EMR Maxwell. We have a product called RadBlock. It's a chip that can be fixed on the mobile phones, or it could be on the laptop or any electromagnetic radiation emitting device. And it is known, it has been certified to filter out 99.9% of the bad effects of electromagnetic radiation. It's been tested with TUE, Rhineland Labs. It's also a patented device, patented in India as well as in the US. And this is available in the market. We'll be launching it soon. It's been there in the market for some time, but at a low-key level. But now it is going for a mega launch. This chip can prevent any radiation effects on your body, maybe on the side of your head. And that way, reduce the effect of radiation on the human body to a limited extent, because even Wi-Fi is emitting continuous radiation. But we will endeavor into developing more devices that could prevent various types of radiation effects. Now, who's the biggest victim of this radiation? Should be children and women.
Absolutely, yes.
And cancer has become such a big problem. Breast cancer, ovarian cancer, prostate cancer. Why is this happening, and why is it so much more nowadays? These are questions that have no answers. But one could assume that the body is developed as a very finely balanced system. There is no question about that. Every medical professional who understands how the body works would know that there is physics, there is chemistry, there's biology, there's mechanics, there's all the science that's happening inside the human body. The balance can be tipped off by external intervention. And one of that would be all these pollutants, either of these four. So when it comes to radiation, this is the new evil. When it comes to the bad effect of radiation, I know technology is changing the world and we all depend on it. But how to escape from the bad effects? We need to find ways, and definitely their vulnerability is more in women and children, because the cell multiplications are more in parts of a woman's body as well as in children. They're growing. So wherever there is cell multiplication, there is a risk of something going wrong, especially if there's any intervention like this, any pollutant. So this could be a larger understanding about why there is more ailments, and we need to find protection against it. So when you know this, you start looking for solutions, and that's what I'm endeavoring into. And this product is one of the first that is, we are hoping could maybe alleviate some extent of the damage that could be caused from mobiles, because how much can you tell people not to use mobile? I have heard this from the time those analog phones were launched in the market. Nothing has changed, nothing has stopped. So we need to find ways to somehow protect ourselves. I mean, human body can take a certain level of stress. It's only when it goes beyond that that it starts reacting and then some disease gets formed. So the smartest thing to do is keep everything in moderation and see that you also take protection as best as possible, like just like a helmet when you're riding a bike. That's the way we are doing it.
Rightly said, Dr. Sai Giridhar. All right. So moving ahead with your extensive experience in healthcare leadership, how do you see the role of corporate governance evolving in the healthcare sector, especially when it comes to ensuring quality care and ethical practices across organizations?
All right. Very good question, actually. And very apt as well, because that is how I'm associated with the Directors Institute and the World Development Council. Health sector itself, I would segment it into three parts: the government health sector, the corporate health sector, and the private health sector. You know, governments worldwide, they're trying to do their best, funding their projects, establishing hospitals and centers, and they do take care to implement large-scale healthcare and prevention methods, be it vaccination, be it nourishment, and of course, healthcare. But you know the limitations of it. And this is not only Indian story. I think Indian government healthcare system is one of the vastest and one of the best in terms of its efficiency. No question about that. I'm sure many will vouch for this statement. Having said that, that has not been able to fulfill the needs of the healthcare itself. There are a variety of needs. You know, you have acute ailments, you have sudden surges in ailments. Not one system can take care of everything. And private healthcare has been there in all parts of the world as filling the gap. Now, there comes this corporate and private. The corporate organized health sector, you know, the big chains of hospitals and networks that have been growing in India as well as the rest of the world. They are able to cater to those advanced treatments and filling the gap, taking opportunities, fantastic growth and direction to it. Unfortunately, they're expensive also, which means that a large population cannot avail of those naturally because of lack of financial abilities. There comes the private again. The private healthcare sector plays in the smaller areas. Now, I may be terminologically not very accurate, but let's call it the private sector. Private health sector working at lower levels tries to fill that gap where, you know, treatments are available for a lesser price. They are there everywhere and operated by a doctor or a group of doctors. And, clinics, nursing homes, small hospitals. This is how the healthcare structuring is, healthcare services structure. When it comes to governance, government, of course, will have a structure, no doubt. Corporate does have a structure. Again, the question of how effective the governance is, what are their priorities, how well and how ethically they are being guided, we'll come to that. But the private health sector is where there is no proper professional approach to governance. You will not be surprised. I can make some statements. In India, most of the hospitals are single doctor run hospitals, the small ones. I'm talking about the private healthcare sector as we defined it. Maybe a couple of them, maybe a couple doctors. This is the trend in, you know, tier 2, tier 3 cities. You will see a lot of these small hospitals which came out of a doctor's practice. And then there are small groups of doctors who form a hospital. They are loosely run. Each doctor will have his own practice and he takes his own income, and commonly run by a small management that they themselves own and fund. But without the vision for a larger hospital, they would actually use that as a medium of practicing their surgical and inpatient services. You understood what I'm trying to say. They're loosely grouped, not centrally strong in terms of management and administration. And each to their own. Good doctors do good work, maybe charge less, charge more, and some doctors charge more and not do good work, or maybe we are not judging the caliber of the doctors here, but look at the plight of the patients and look at the business structure itself. There is absolutely no corporate governance systems in place, and there things can go wrong. Now, individual relationship is the only strength in these places. The doctor's face is visible, the hospital is there. So doctors do become, community personalities in their town, their village. This is how it is working. Corporate systems, corporate governance systems don't exist. They exist in reality, in the way it evolved, but not in the way that we want to structure it. This is the same story in so-called very good places also, because internal operational structures are self-made and managed and directed by the owners, be it doctors or be it non-doctors. So there is a huge gap in what corporate governance can do and the way it's actually going. And nobody is able to make a change very quickly because there is first highly qualified professionals are required. Very expensive equipment is required. So there's a huge investment involved. And then to make ends meet itself, you need to wait a long time. So there's working capital intensive. With all this going together, the question of corporate governance establishments are still yet to come. I'm sure it will reach to that point, but there is a gap. There is currently a big gap. Another reason for this would be that the funding of any project requires involvement of people who are businessmen, not necessarily always doctors. Doctors end up spending their parents' money and their own money also for several years to study hard and become doctors. Unless they have a strong backing, they could not have their own investment. So non-medical business men investing and creating hospitals also disconnects them with the priorities of the hospital governance structure. It's more a financial and a business governance. We always debate whether a hospital is a business or it's a service. So we say it is 50-50, but then the public has a different view and the various groups, they have a different view. But it is a debatable issue. Money is important. You need to fund these projects, only then you can deliver any service. A doctor alone would only do a consultation or basic treatments. You need a lot of facility for advanced treatment. So the role of corporate governance is huge here. In fact, it is in early stages. The corporate health sector, yes, to a great extent. Private health sector is very vast in terms of the number of units and the number of patients they cater to, but there is no existent corporate structure. So there is a lot of playing area and development required to establish corporate structuring. And it's quite complex also. It's not so straightforward to do that. But I look at myself with my years of experience in this field and my understanding to definitely contribute not to let financially driven decisions alone to be implemented without sufficiently significant regard to quality of care and patient safety. I'm sure everybody does try to ensure patient safety, but then no decisions should bypass these requirements. So that would be one of the goals I would play for as any director in any hospital company. And that's what I've done so far also. Sometimes to the detriment of immediate results, but I've seen long-term results are always good when you take the correct decisions, ethical decisions, and properly designed decisions. That's how I look at it in terms of corporate governance and directorship in the health sector.
Absolutely, Dr. Sai Giridhar. The kind of insights that you have shared has made it pretty clear that robust governance can really make a difference, especially in the field as sensitive as healthcare. All right. So moving on to the next question, I would like to ask you, given your extensive experience in healthcare leadership and innovation, what's the next milestone you are aiming for in your career? And do you see yourself playing a role in shaping strategic decisions at a higher level? perhaps even stepping into boardroom leadership to drive change across the industry?
Absolutely. And definitely, I look at it as a opportunity for me to drive decisions and change directions where required, even at the boardroom level or even above that, even strategic policy making and decision making. And I'm happy to tell you that wherever I have the opportunity, I have given my tips and information even to health authorities and government officials, so that they could keep that in mind while they take their decisions. So I do look at it like that. The next milestone, if you to look at it from my involvement in the corporate structure or boardroom structures, it's quite apparent that I would try to bring in my expertise and add strength to the board's decisions wherever I am playing a role there. And definitely that would be balanced, because we do understand uh, finances as much as all other concerns when it comes to implementing decisions. What I want to achieve is many of the things which I have already mentioned to you. The technology interventions will continue to grow, and we will utilize every method that technology can provide to us, whether hardware or software. Now we are talking of artificial intelligence, machine learning. We would like to utilize those technologies, and my team will be continually working on creating new ideas and implement those things into better, seamless, effective, real-time interventions using technology to help patients, doctors, and the hospitals and health sector generally. I must also tell you, I'm passionate about learning, and I did get an opportunity to try my hands with technology during the COVID time. I did a 1-year diploma in blockchain technology. So I'm a qualified blockchain architect. Wanted to learn what blockchain could create for the future. And I'm very keen to also implement blockchain technology into our solutions, tech solutions. Basically, the interest is data security and cryptography. And you know how important it is now to protect what data and technology is already providing. You know, the kind of risk that your information online can be exposed to. So cybersecurity, cryptography, and blockchain are my areas of interest, and we'll implement that as soon as possible. I think the biggest challenge which I consider as a significant milestone for me would be to transform the health insurance industry the way it is going. Now, it's a very big challenge, but we are trying to devise, and we are in the process of devising solutions where health insurance would not look the way it is now. It needs to change. Unfortunately, health insurance companies, health insurance policies have not been able to cover the risk completely and remove that concern or hassle from the people's mind. Even you have a health insurance policy, you must be concerned because there are so many checks and balances. From the financial point of view, yes. And also, unfortunately, there's a lot of fraudulent use of insurance, health insurance in the early days. So fraud prevention and financial balance has driven insurance policies to be only partially covered, not able to fully make it hassle-free. This is something which I would like to work on, to see that there should be peace of mind. People take life insurance policies so that if they do, something happens, their families are protected financially. There is some solace in that. But when it comes to health insurance, that peace of mind is not coming. It's a fact. And the assumption that health insurance policy will do everything for you, you have the ticket to access everything, is also an illusion which people have understood. So we want to make a significant improvement in those perceptions and also create some sort of a financial balance, not to pinch the pockets of individuals, but still create a hassle-free, completely covered insurance solution. So in this process, we're trying to devise some very revolutionary ideas. I've been talking about it for quite some time, and I'm seeing many times within the insurance sector, wherever we've discussed, they have accepted my ideas and tried to adopt it into their policies. I'm seeing that happening in India also, as well as in the Middle East. I've seen that these ideas, which we have been developing over several years to improve this health insurance policies and design of these policies and the way they are structured and implemented. I have discussed with the fraternity both in India and the Middle East, and I've seen hugely an acceptance of my ideas. I'm glad to say that some of these ideas were absorbed and implemented in their structuring. So I see that we are in the proper direction, and we are moving to evolve this area of health insurance to a significant level, and that would be a milestone for me to achieve, wherein we bring peace of mind to the people financially also in terms of healthcare. Talking of any other milestone, of course, contributing to the boardrooms would be a good platform where I could disseminate some of these thoughts and ideas, and I could learn a lot from other experts who sit across the table with me. So we will become a team stronger and would be able to contribute to the policy and decision making of as many boards, and hopefully even to develop strategies for policy implementation even at the governmental level. I think that would be a great satisfactory experience for me to be part of.
Great, Dr. Sai Giridhar. Thank you for sharing such amazing insights into different subjects related to healthcare sector. So this brings us to the last question of this particular podcast. So here it is. In your experience, how critical is it for healthcare leaders to understand global corporate governance? And how has Directors Institute contributed to this understanding of yours?
Health professionals should, and they do understand greatly about how they could contribute to the structuring of decisions, to put it in simpler words, maybe not exactly the global corporate governance. There are few doctors who actually got into business in terms of the way we want to call business. Of course, every doctor is managing his own clinic and doing some level of business, but you know what I'm trying to say. Doctors can do a lot more. They're busy working with their patients. And I always think that even though I loved my practice and I had an excellent practice, the time I'm able to invest into these type of corporate work is going to bring a lot more value. As a doctor, you can treat a patient, maybe 20 patients, 50 patients. You have human limitations. This is the limitation of any doctor. So you need to get into hospital management or manage hospital policy implementations to reach out to a larger scale of population. And I would encourage doctors to do that, and they can do a lot. In fact, doctors must get into the management boards of every hospital. I've always felt that any business is run by the professionals of that field, right? Yes, you need managers, you need financial experts, you need HR experts, but the core domain, you look at big companies. You can look at Google, you can look at Microsoft, you can look at banks, the CEOs of banks. They're all banking people. Technocrats are the CEOs of technology companies. So the healthcare leadership should be with the doctors. That is always my advocacy. The financial part is different. The world is evolving now. There are many ways to generate funds. But I would encourage doctors to take the lead in being on the boards of every hospital. Now, Directors Institute is for me, again, a discovery. Because as much as um, the Directors Institute has been developed and designed, and the programs have been developed by the group of leaders who lead the Directors Institute. It's like there is a saying, प्यासे के पास पानी आता है. So maybe I was thirsty for this, that somebody gives me a direction to fill that gap, because learning has been a constant endeavor for all professionals, and I'm also a part of that uh, group of people who are always thirsty for knowledge. But this particular area of corporate leadership and boardroom knowledge, I've been on the board of several companies, but learning it professionally, and also the way I've been going through the lectures of the past few weeks, I can tell you that in any learning, a guru is required. So Directors Institute will be our guru to teach how corporate governance is actually conducted. And I'm able to see what I was doing right already, and I'm able to see what more I could have done. Thankfully, we've not done any mistakes, touch wood, but the learning will help you reinforce and build your internal thinking structure so robust and strong that you will be very effective in the board. And I think Directors Institute is building that concrete thinking structure in me with regard to corporate governance. And that would be there forever. So I am very happy that I'm part of this program, International Corporate Independent Corporate Directorship Program, which is definitely a platform that you should reach out. I think all professionals should reach up to that level. For me, I'm not looking at this as a program with which I would, I would take up roles in various companies. Of course, that will happen, that can happen. But it is for my own understanding to run my own businesses, to see that we are always the best in whatever we do, including corporate governance. So that is the way I look at the role of Directors Institute in my career and profession.
Absolutely, Dr. Sai Giridhar, and your candid responses were truly enlightening. So thank you so much for taking the time to share your experience and insights with us today. We at Directors Institute wish you continued success, especially as you lead the way in healthcare innovation and beyond.
Very nice talking to you, Sunny, and thank you for being patient. And I hope the audience will also like the observations and the answers and my thoughts. And I'll be very happy to receive feedback. And I look forward to this once again whenever there's an opportunity. And I'll be happy to update what more we did in this meantime. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And to all the viewers watching, that wraps up another insightful episode of FaceTime with Leaders. We look forward to bringing you more inspiring conversations with visionary leaders in our next episode. Until then, keep pushing boundaries, embracing new ideas, and finding purpose in your journey. Thank you so much and have a nice time.